democracy, state power, and human destiny. You can adjust the language according to your preference. Choose the program that suits your needs from the playlist. Customize the subtitle position on your laptop, and adjust the video speed with the slider to suit your needs and comfort. Let's grow together through your subscribe and like on this video.
Power is a heavy burden, not a shiny crown. It demands care, precision, and a deep respect for the people it serves. Think about it. A governor isn't a king. They don't rule by decree. They govern under the law. Their fundamental job is to guarantee justice for everyone, not to impose fear. History is filled with pivotal moments where leaders stood at a crossroads, facing impossible decisions. Some showed incredible courage. Others were paralyzed by fear, and some just hesitated, unsure of the path forward. The true measure of leadership isn't about how tall someone stands or how loud they shout. It's measured in something much quieter, much stronger: integrity. When politicians start chasing power for personal gain, for wealth, or for fame, the very foundations of our system begin to crack. But the opposite is also true. When leaders act in good faith, with the public's best interest at heart, our institutions grow stronger, more resilient. Democracy isn't a game of control. It's a delicate balancing act. It's about ensuring that no single person or group becomes too powerful. Policies aren't just abstract documents collecting dust in an office. They have real-world consequences. They show up in your grocery bill, your gas receipt, and the bottom line of your household budget. When a politician decides to cut funding, it's not just numbers on a spreadsheet. It means public services like schools, libraries, and sanitation struggle to keep their doors open and serve the community. When healthcare is neglected, illness spreads, affecting families and overwhelming hospitals. This is why an honest government must listen before it acts. A good leader doesn't just talk. They gather facts, consult with experts, and, most importantly, include diverse voices in the conversation. They need to hear from everyone, not just the people who agree with them. Democracy thrives on transparency. The public has a right to know what its government is doing and why. Of course, leaders are human. They make mistakes. Sometimes they make harmful choices, ignoring clear warning signs. And sometimes, tragically, they end up hurting the very people they swore an oath to protect. When that happens, accountability is not optional. It is essential. No official, no matter how high their position, is above the law. A society that values justice must be able to forgive, but it must also remember. It has to identify where things went wrong and build better, stronger systems to prevent those mistakes from happening again. Justice isn't about revenge, it's about responsibility. It's about restoring balance and trust. Hello everyone, and welcome. Today, I want to talk about something that affects every single one of us: the journey of our societies, the path of reform, our shared responsibilities, and the future we are all building together. Reform isn't a magic button you press once. It's a process. It's a long, winding road that moves step by step, sometimes with growing pains, but always with the goal of moving forward. Think about it. A truly historic nation isn't one that claims to be perfect. A great nation is defined by its constant, unwavering willingness to improve, to learn from its past, and to strive for a better tomorrow. When you see citizens gathering peacefully in front of public buildings, what are they really saying? It's not just a protest. It's a powerful message. We are here, we are paying attention, and we want to participate in shaping our future. This is the lifeblood of a healthy democracy. Democracy works best not when a few people make all the decisions, but when participation is wide, inclusive, and welcomes every voice. And what about leadership? A great leader isn't someone chasing personal glory or building a monument to themselves. A true leader is a public servant who seeks the public good above all else. They must be honest in their words and fair in their actions. They must have the strength to listen to criticism without reacting with anger, to see it not as an attack, but as feedback. And when mistakes happen, because mistakes are inevitable in any human endeavor, a great leader must have the integrity to admit them openly. They must not try to hide the truth or shift the blame. That transparency builds trust, and trust is the foundation of good governance. Let's talk about courage. Courage isn't about being fearless. Real courage is feeling that fear, understanding the risks, and still making the decision to move forward because it's the right thing to do. It's the courage to speak up, the courage to act, and the courage to stand for one's principles. Now, let's turn to the economy. An economy should serve people, not the other way around. We see trade moving goods across borders, markets rising and falling, and new industries expanding. This is all part of a dynamic world. However, if all the wealth created from this activity flows only to the very top, society becomes unstable and fractured. A healthy economic policy must be designed to reduce the gap between the rich and the poor. It must protect the rights and dignity of workers while still encouraging the innovation that drives progress. And crucially, this growth must be sustainable. We cannot build a prosperous future on a foundation of environmental destruction. Justice is another cornerstone of a free society, and for justice to be real, it requires independence. Our courts must be able to operate without political pressure or interference. The law must apply equally to everyone. If an official, no matter how powerful, breaks the law, they must face the same consequences as any other citizen. No position, no title should grant immunity. This principle of accountability is what protects our freedom. Without it, corruption spreads like a disease, eroding public trust and weakening the very structure of democracy. The rule of law isn't just a legal concept. It's fundamental to our way of life. At the heart of it all are our communities. Strong societies are built on a foundation of trust and mutual respect. It's in the simple things: neighbors greeting one another on the street, friends supporting each other through tough times, families sharing moments of both happiness and hardship. A friendly, connected society is infinitely stronger and more resilient than a divided one. We must work to protect human dignity at every level in our local towns, across our nation, and throughout the global community. Every nation, at some point, faces a crisis. Some are economic downturns, some are environmental disasters, some are moral crises that test the soul of a country. In those defining moments, leaders cannot afford to hesitate. They must act with clarity and decisiveness, but the choice doesn't just belong to them. Citizens also face a critical choice. Will we respond to crisis with hate, fear, and division? Or will we respond with hope, unity, and a collective desire to solve the problem? The answer we choose in those moments shapes our future for generations to come. This brings me to the power of education. Education is what empowers individuals and strengthens a nation from the ground up. It's not just about memorizing facts. It's about teaching history so we can learn from the past, geography so we understand our world, and most importantly, critical thinking so we can analyze information for ourselves. An informed population is much harder to mislead or manipulate. Knowledge reduces fear and builds confidence. It gives people the tools to participate meaningfully in their democracy. But here's the most important part. Responsibility does not belong only to leaders. It belongs to every single one of us. Democracy isn't a spectator sport. It's a shared project. We all have a role to play. We must be stewards of our environment, advocate for fair and just policies, and stand up to defend human rights wherever they are threatened. Freedom isn't a gift that, once given, lasts forever. It survives only when people care enough to actively protect and defend it, day in and day out. The future is not some predetermined story written by fate. It is a blank page, and it is written by the choices we make every day. We can choose justice over corruption. We can choose dialogue over violence. We can choose hope over fear. Democracy is not perfect. It can be messy, slow, and frustrating, but it is also incredibly powerful and resilient. And as long as people around the world continue to believe in the promise of freedom, as long as we are willing to do the hard work, the story will continue. So, let us move forward with courage and conviction. Let us build a future that is more just, more sustainable, and more hopeful for all. Let's do it together. Thank you so much for watching. If this message resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. I'll see you next time.